Good day! Now, we will going to discuss to you about the current gender issues in the Philippine society under the topic of understanding sexual harassment. Let me also introduce to you with my co-members. We have Miss Aizara Dela Cruz, Morriena Aripudin, and yours truly, Kevin D. Tolipas.
What is sexual harassment? Sexual harassment refers to the unwelcome sex advances, requests for sex favors, unsolicited touching, and physical contact even in the context of friendship can be a form of sexual harassment. Lewd comments about someone's body or appearances, saying bad things on someone or a group of people based on their gender identity or sexuality, making gestures of sexual nature, gossiping about someone's personal life or sexual life in general can be a form of sexual harassment because you're invading someone's privacy, and that will never be right. What does sexual harassment look like? Either family, friends, relatives, stranger, co-workers, colleague, teacher, or any person in the world could be a victim of sexual harassment. The harasser can be identified in any gender. Remember that. No exception in any gender.
These are some forms of sexual harassment. We have persistent telling of offensive jokes such as green jokes or another analogous statement to someone who finds them offensive or humiliating. Taunting a person with constant talk about sex, displaying offensive or lewd pictures and publications in the workplace, interrogating someone about sexual activities or private life during interviews for employment, scholarship grants, or any lawful activities applied for, making offensive hand or body gestures at someone, repeatedly asking for dates despite verbal rejections, touching, pinching, or brushing up against someone's body unnecessarily or deliberately, kissing or embracing someone against her will, requesting sexual favors in exchange for good grade, obtaining a good job or promotion, cursing, wrestling, or calling a woman in public with words having dirty connotations or implications which tend to ridicule, humiliate, or embarrass the woman such as puta, boring, peste, or other words. Any other unnecessarily acts during physical examinations, and lastly, requiring women to wear suggestive or provocative attire during interviews for job hiring, promotions, and admission. So those are some forms of sexual harassment.
Hi, good day. Today we are going to tackle about the understanding sexual harassment. What is the difference between sexual harassment and sexual assault? What about sexual misconduct? Sexual harassment is a broad term, including many types of unwelcome verbal and physical sexual attention. Sexual assault refers to sexual contact or behavior, often physical, that occurs without the consent of the victim. Sexual harassment also generally violates civil laws. You have a right to work or learn without being harassed, but in many cases, it's not a criminal act, while sexual assault usually refers to acts that are criminal. These are some forms of sexual assaults include penetration of the victim's body, also known as rape, attempted rape, forcing a victim to perform sexual acts such as oral sex or penetration of the perpetrator's body, fondling or unwanted sexual touching. It also affects the physical effects of the social being. Especially, it also affects the physical effects of a victim that include increased stress levels, headaches, fatigue, sleep disturbances, and also the eating disturbances.
What is sexual misconduct? Sexual misconduct is any sexual act or behavior that a person does not consent to. For example, in workplace, employees does not allowed to have an intimate relationship to co-workers. Where can sexual harassment occur? Sexual harassment can happen in any form or in any variety of circumstances. There is no specific time, place, nor situation.
What can I do when I witness sexual harassment?
As a normal citizen in a community, what can I do when I witness sexual harassment? We may heard the term bystander intervention to describe stepping in to help if you see someone who might be in danger or at risk for sexual assault. Bystander intervention can also be a helpful strategy if you witness sexual harassment. You don't have to be a hero to make a positive impact in someone's life, and you can intervene in a way that fits your comfort level and is appropriate for the situation. If you choose to step in, you might be able to give the person being harassed a chance to get to a safe place or leave the situation. Below are some of the steps you can take if you see someone being sexually harassed. Just remember the care, C-A-R-E, and of course, keep your own safety in mind at all times.
What are some effects of sexual harassment? Experiencing sexual harassment may cause some survivors to face emotional, physical, or mental health concerns. Some of them might include emotional effects, anger for humiliation, shame, guilt.
Mental effects on the victims of sexual harassment. Firstly, anxiety, depression, panic attack, lost motivation, suicidal ideation, and substance abuse. When we say kasi substance abuse, it is the uses of illegal drugs or over-the-counter drugs or alcohol for purposes. And it has a major impact to individuals, families, and communities. And those impact can lead to public health problems. And those public health problems includes teenage pregnancy, child abuse, domestic abuse, other sexual transmitted or the STD. It could be also an HIV or AIDS, motor vehicle crashes, and lastly crime. Republic Act number 7877 or the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995 aims to value the dignity of every individual, enhance the development of its human resources, guarantee full respect for human rights, and uphold the dignity of workers, employee, applicants for employment, students, or those undergoing training, instruction, or educations toward these ends. All forms of sexual harassment in the employment, education, or training environment must be respected.
So now, let me going to discuss to you the possible offense if you were convicted in a sexual harassment case. Commission of sexual harassment is a criminal offense. A person found guilty of sexual harassment shall be penalized by imprisonment of not less than 1 month nor more than 6 months, or a fine of not less than 10,000 pesos nor more than 20,000 pesos or both. Any person who directs or include another to commit any act of sexual harassment or who cooperates in the commission thereof by another without which it would not have been committed shall also be held liable under for sexual harassment.
Babae, lalaki, bata, o matanda. It doesn't matter kung sino ka o sino sila. Sexual harassment is sexual harassment. If you went through it, say something, do something. Nobody should invalidate your own experience and feelings. Please, have the courage to speak up. Justice is for everybody. Street harassment is the most common form of sexual harassment in the Philippines. 3 in 5 women and 1 in 6 men have experienced sexual harassment at least once in their lifetime. 50% of women victims did nothing. 20% of them were overcome with fear, and only around 15% of men victims actioned the incident.
Speak for yourself or suffer in silence forever. Hashtag never okay.
So that would be all. Hopefully you learned something from us. Thank you and God bless.